Blessed be witches, and welcome to another episode of Witch Please. It is I, Odin the Seer, and today we are going to be talking about one of the things that I feel is probably the most fundamental in manifestation, and that is neutrality. In the years that I've been teaching, I've had many people come to me and say, for some reason, Odin, I can manifest for other people, but I cannot manifest as swiftly for myself. And the reason for this is that when someone is manifesting for somebody else, they normally don't really have an emotion attached to it. If somebody's a very negative person, and let's face it, a lot of people these days hold a lot of negativity in the core of their being, right? A lot of illusions, a lot of beliefs that, I'm not deserving of this, or, people are douchebags, and all of these other vibrations that really are not conducive to one manifesting swiftly or efficiently. If whatever it is that you are trying to manifest is attached to a negative view, perspective, illusion, condition, whatever it may be, you need to understand that you're sending out that vibration. Okay? Which is going to counteract whatever magical working that you're doing. Because yes, you can go and you can light some candles, burn some incense, invoke your ancestors, call on the spirits, the angels, whatever you want to do. You can go do that. And you can be in ritual for an hour, 2 hours, what have you. But you need to remember that core belief that you hold is going to be working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So what you're doing is you are trying to break down that condition, right? Magically. You're trying to force yourself to be able to get past whatever that is. And the thing about that is that there's always going to be that opposition. There's always going to be that conflict. On the other side of the spectrum, if you're able to hold wonderful belief structures and wonderful, views and excitement and so on and so forth, and you are doing your magical workings, you're going to find that this is going to come a lot quicker. And you will manifest swiftly. And true magic, in my opinion, is about internal alchemy. Creating the avenues that allow you to be able to manifest what you truly want rather than manifesting what you don't want by holding a belief or a vibration that is not conducive to where it is you want to go or what you want to experience. So how does neutrality work? How do we do this, right? And I wish that I could just say, okay, so here's the blueprint for neutrality, but it's not that simple. For me personally, when I am going up against an ideal or whatever that I may hold, I acknowledge that this old pattern is still here, but I will not engage you. And I will literally say that physically to myself. I will not engage you. And then for me personally, what happens is it kind of goes in the background, right? It kind of deteriorates. And the more that I've been doing this, the more it actually goes away. And I'll find that I will be in a neutral state, or I will be in a very excited state, and that negative aspect of it will no longer be there, okay? Which allows me to manifest swifter. Let me give you an example. Let's say that you are in love with somebody, right? You've been in a relationship with them. The relationship is not doing very well, okay? And you are holding this fear. They're gonna leave. This isn't working out the way it should be, right? Holding that is going to cause a multitude of vibrational frequencies within your reality, but it's also going to cause you to start acting in a certain way, right? You may become needy, right? Fearful, right? Possessive. I've had so many people who say, I don't know why I do what I do when it comes to my spouse or my partner, but I can't help myself. I can't help myself. Well, the reason why you can't help yourself is because of the fact that you are holding this vibration. If you take a look at neutrality, or you bring in neutrality there, you will be neutralized, right? Which in turn will neutralize the fear. It will neutralize the possessiveness, the neediness. And then you can focus on what truly is the reason for you to, be concerned about that relationship in the first place. If you're holding that negative belief, right, and that fear, and whatnot, that is going to repel. It's going to repel what exactly you're looking for, what exactly you're trying to maintain or bring into your reality. I have a lot of people who are like, that's all fine and dandy, Odin, but how do I let go of it? right? And they get paranoid, and I'm like, you're already off to a bad start, boo. It's so interesting to watch how the mind will go, right? Then they start trying to force it out. I'm not going to think about anything, and I'm just going to, and every single time, and they try and fight it. And I'm just like, no. The moment you start resisting something, you are putting too much attention to it. Too much energy in it, right? Which is, again, being more counterproductive to where you truly want to be. In my opinion, the best way to be able to be neutral is acknowledge it. I know you're here, but I choose not to engage you. Now, this process can be very difficult for a lot of people as well. But I find that if you have a good support unit within your reality, that you can speak freely and you can speak authentically with. This is another very good way of being able to neutralize a lot of these old patterns. I have a best friend. And the thing about my best friend is that she is the epitome of neutral forces when it comes to my reality. I can give her a call and say, yo, listen, I'm being triggered about this, that, and the other. And she will play that role. She will not blow smoke up my ass. She will not suffer foolishness gladly. She says, yo, listen, this is the way it is. This is what I know you have a propensity for. Right? Are you going to feed into it or are you not going to feed into it? And it's really that simple. That's it. And then we go on to talk about funny, enlightening things that help us all grow, and it's a wonderful experience, and this is what we need to do. That's another thing that I find a lot of people do. A lot of people will spend too much time focusing on shiza that really doesn't matter. That's also part of letting it go. Focusing on it is not letting it go. And neutrality plays a huge part of it. And most times, you cannot let something go unless you're neutral. We know that energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be transferred from form to form. Feeding into it is feeding into it. Neutralizing it is transforming it. That's the tipping point right there. That's what makes the difference. So if you're struggling, right, you're doing something wrong. If you're going to fight, fight to know yourself. Fight to build a platform to your success. I've said that in the video on letting go. Neutrality truly is the key there. It is the key. Because when you turn around and you say, okay, you know what? I acknowledge the role you play in my life right now, right? I acknowledge that you need to be there. And that's another thing that people don't understand. That opposite, that vibration needs to be there. We cannot have one without the other. Right? But just because it needs to be there does not mean that we need to live in it. Right? It is our choice on which way we're going to go. Are we going to choose to stay in one that is, I believe personally, we are only intended to experience to make the higher vibration and the happier vibration and the more fruitful vibration, right, more sweet, more intoxicating, more enjoyable. Which one are we going to stay in? That's the choice that we can have. And how do we do that? Well, you got to remember the tipping point is right in the middle of that, which is neutrality. We don't seem to understand that the vibration that we hold will determine the person that we're going to be. Well, like Terrence said, right? I am human. Nothing human can be alien to me. The vibration you hold will, maybe not right now, but eventually, it will transform you. You may be the most loving person in the world, and when you were born, I can bet my life that you were. But what has created you? Your experiences and the vibrations that you hold. So you can look at yourself right now and say, you know what, I would never do this, I would never feel this, I would never think this, I could never be, right? At this time, yes. But keep holding those vibrations that are breaking down the very essence of who you are, causing trauma, damage. People don't think, okay, that a soul can be destroyed. That is not true. A soul can be destroyed. A soul can be so damaged that it can no longer be repaired, right? And it is by the vibration that we hold. It is by the belief that we keep within the very essence of our being. Now, when I say a soul, because I might get people who are like, oh, well, energy can't be destroyed. When I say destroyed, I mean absorbed back into the whole. It can be dissipated, right? And then used for something else. This is where I want people to really start thinking about it. What am I holding? What in my reality? What am I not using the power of neutrality in that is causing me to not manifest in the way that I want? I will tell you this, which is all of you are the best manifestors in the world. Every single one of you. Ain't nobody in the world that can manifest quite like you. So when I hear, oh, I can't seem to manifest. Really? Because everything that you know, that you've done, that you hold, the reality that you're experiencing, you've manifested it. You have. You are a master manifester. Now have you learned the skills to manifest in a positive way, positive or a negative way? Negative. This is the reality that exists that I choose to be in. Rather than this is the reality that exists that I am unfortunately thrust into and need to endure. And don't get me wrong, being emotionally attached to something you care about is powerful, transformative, right? But let's take a look at some of the most powerful people. They weren't transformed by hate. They didn't create any transformations in this reality via hate. The ones who have made huge steps for the betterment of mankind came from a place of love. Now, don't get me wrong, some of them had anger. You take a look at Malcolm X, he had a lot of anger. He, in my opinion, was trying to balance the negativity. So let's just be real here, okay? Between the opposites or the duality of love would be hate, right? Love is more passive. It's more all-encompassing. It's more nurturing. It's more supportive, right? Hate is very angry, very destroy, very destructive. How can you balance a passive energy with an active energy? Wait a second. It's neutrality! I will be the first person to stand up for what I believe in a minute. And I say it all the time. I may not agree with what you got to say, but I will fight to my death for your right to say whatever you want. Fighting for a cause is important, but my fight will never be about overcoming somebody else. My fight will always be to build a healthy, balanced platform for people to have experience on both sides of the spectrum. My fight will always be to break down illusion and conditioning. I'm not going to fight you. I'm not going to fight your cause. I'm not going to fight what you believe. I will not. But I will fight to break down the illusions that we hold that do not allow for balance. I hold the vibration that every person has a right to experience their reality however they want. If you want to be in the middle of, the countryside, hating up on people, that's your business. You do your thing. Am I going to hate you for that? No. Why would I? I'm going to look at it like, okay, you know what? Whatever experience this person has had, whatever upbringing this person has had, right? That is not the divine at work. That is illusion at its finest, okay? That is conditioning at its finest. I am going to keep my doors open to allow for you to come talk to me. Get to know me. I'm going to share an experience with you that I think really helps with this. I was working with this guy, and this guy was really uncomfortable with me, right? I started a new job, everybody loved me, but this one guy, he, for some reason, every time we were supposed to have a shift with him, he would give it away, he would do this, he would do that, and he would never do a shift with me. Never. Ever. Bless his heart. He would never do it. And it got to the point where the manager had to say, listen, I understand what's going on here, You don't want to be around him because of his sexuality. And we are not going to keep moving your shifts so that you don't work with this person. You are going to have to work with them. We worked our first shift and we talked a little bit and so on and so forth. And then the next shift we talked even more. He was at my wedding. He said to me that I was one of his best friends, that he could come and talk to me about anything and everything. His conditioning did not allow for him to truly see me, to see the truth. But given the experience, given the opportunity, even though he had to be forced, it changed him. And he will always be a different person. He will always see things in a different way. And that is such a powerful thing. Now, I could have been the other way because I knew why he was switching the shifts. I could have been like, oh, not up in here. Right? I'm going to get the MF. I could have done that. But I didn't. I saw it as an opportunity to be the vibration that I want to be, and that is that of love. To create a connection, to allow him to see that it's not like the way that he's holding that illusion. It's very different. I'm going to fight to give people opportunity. I will never fight to force someone to believe what I'm believing. I will never fight to make someone do something that I think that they should do because it's right or I will never do that. I will fight to give opportunity. Open those doorways for you. Whether or not you walk through is entirely up to you. Because you know what? I'm also going to love you enough to respect the decision that you made to have whatever experience you want to have. Right? So all those people are out there pickets, screaming and yelling. And I feel when I'm enraged and I'm about to get. Think of what you're doing. Because you think you're getting through and you think you've won. But you ain't won. Okay? Because what you didn't realize is that when you pass on, and whoever that person was, their children are going to be taught, and that same situation that you had, where you were fighting for what you felt was right, is going to happen again at another time, because people seem to think that this time is the only time. But if we take a look at history, we have progressed and then we've regressed. That has happened throughout history all the time. It's constantly happening. And as I said earlier, never mistake neutrality for indifference. Never make that mistake. Okay? Neutrality does allow for one to feel everything. Right? And in most cases, to heal something, you need to feel it first. Okay? But most people even see healing as something that they need to put in a lot of time and energy into. What is that doing to you? You're still putting in too much energy into something that is only going to bring in more of the same. If you have to heal something, acknowledge it. Feel it, understand what it is, acknowledge it, right? Become neutral about it, not indifferent, neutral, move past it. If you keep picking at the wound, it ain't never gonna heal. And by focusing on healing that, you are picking at the wound. You are not allowing it to heal. That's why you have people who get caught in vicious cycles. Oh, my spouse left me 15 years ago and I still feel it. Oh, when I was a child, this happened to me, and I still feel it. It governs and it rules my whole life, my whole experience, and I'm seeing this psychotherapist and that psychotherapist, and I'm on this, and that. Well, honey, you've been feeling this for a long time, and you've only been getting more of that. Become neutral to it. And again, neutral does not mean, right, that you need to be indifferent. Understand that it's there. Understand that it happened. Understand what you've learned from it. Try and start seeing things in a positive light. Become neutral, right? Acknowledge it, do not engage it, move on. And eventually, as time goes by, you will find that you will be able to live within neutrality and excitement. Only descending into that vibration, right? To make the other vibrations more pleasant. We need to have experiences that would be considered not so good experiences to really cherish the good ones. We need duality to have it. Work within these in a way that's going to allow you or afford you to be able to stay in the one that you choose to be in. I believe it was, they did this test or the study, and they asked 100 people on their deathbed if they could change something about their life, what would they do? And I think it was something like 86 of them said, I would be more happy in my life because I now know that happiness is a choice. That's pretty powerful. Don't wait till your deathbed to be able to realize that. If you can be neutral in any situation, it's being able to experience both sides of the spectrum, all sides. I never ever look at anything that happens in my life as positive or negative. I never do that. Why does this bad shit keep happening to me? Why does this? I never do that. I can't do that anymore. Because one of the things that I found is that the more I do that, and the more time and energy and attention that I put in that, the less time, energy, and attention that I can put to what I really want to experience. And it creates a vicious cycle that does not allow for you to be able to ever get out of that vibration. Acknowledge it. Make your statement that you are not going to engage it. Understand its purpose. Move forward and build your reality. Neutrality is the key. It is the bridge. Alright, so that is our episode for today. If you have not subscribed, you need to press subscribe, join the Witch Please family, and do not miss out on a thing. You can follow us on Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, as well as Facebook. You can always leave a personal email for me at witchpleaseofficial@gmail.com, or you can leave a comment below. I've said it before, and I will say it again. It is a pleasure to have you in my world. It is an honor to have you in my magic. And you are always in my heart. I will see you on another episode of Witch Please.